In this video we'll break down how Liverpool were outplayed for large parts of the game but stole a dramatic win. To combat Liverpool's 4-2-4 pressing structure, one of the PSG midfielders, usually Vitinha, would move into the penalty box to receive from the keeper, as Donnarumma is not the most reliable with his feet. This gave PSG the numerical advantage in the build-up, and from here PSG were able to draw the press and work the ball into the flanks. The movement of the PSG pivot dropping between the centre-backs helped to break up the Liverpool lines, creating gaps for the ball progression through the centre. From their initial 4-3-3 and from one of the pivots aiding the build-up, PSG were able to move into the preferred 3-2 structure in the first phase and find a pivot due to the slightly staggered Liverpool pressing structure. Here Vitinha drops deep to give PSG a strong platform to build against Liverpool's 4-man press, so that Liverpool don't have the advantage. The ball is then played to the flank. Liverpool's 4-2-4 defensive shape is adept at covering the central channels and preventing progression through the centre. Utilising a 3-2-5 structure, this gave PSG access to the wide channels and to Hakimi, who took up positions outside left-back Robertson. His positioning drew out Robertson, opening up spaces between the centre-back and the full-back for Dembele or Kvaratskhelia to run into. The hybrid role of Vitinha and Neves dropping between the midfield and defence continued to cause Liverpool problems in their press, and this created a 5 versus 4. Pulling a defender towards the ball frees up a pass. The run into the midfield takes a player away from Liverpool's press, leaving the other midfielder with time on the ball to dictate the tempo. Realising that PSG were able to work the ball around their press, Liverpool at times adopted deeper defensive positions and sat more in a mid-block 4-2-4. We can also see here rotations with Kvaratskhelia on the left and Ruiz in the centre-forward position. The space in Liverpool's 4-2-4 defensive shape was either side of the double pivot, so at times PSG's 3-2-5 matched Liverpool's shape with a 4-2-4, but with the midfield 3 forming a triangle. The two number 8s in this shape looked to widen and exploit the space outside. Runs behind the fullback then pulled a Liverpool midfielder out, leaving spaces in the midfield. PSG's fluidity in their front line often meant that the two Liverpool centre-backs had no one to mark. Dembele and Kvaratskhelia dropped into the half spaces, again looking to exploit the space outside of the double pivot. This meant that PSG could overload the midfield. The movement of the false 9 gave the Liverpool fullbacks a problem in deciding whether to press the player in the half space or the winger out wide. PSG then looked to play the ball behind to exploit the space. Luis Enrique likes his teams to get into a 3-2-2-3 shape, where they can often overload the midfield. Here though, they haven't been able to overload the midfield, as Liverpool have good numbers in central areas. Luis Enrique's use of Dembele in the false 9 role should have caused Liverpool more problems, as the aim of this is to pull defenders out of position, opening up spaces in the backline. However, from Liverpool's 4-2-4, the wide players narrowed, and with Liverpool's false strikers, were able to maintain the advantage while keeping their back four in shape, with good distances between them. They initially conceded space out wide in order to protect the centre. However, when the ball was played out wide, one of the defensive midfielders would take up a position in the backline, forcing PSG to play around, leading to 16 shots from outside the box. Instead of jumping out and pressing from the back four, the defensive midfielders tracked runners into the box, meaning that Liverpool could maintain defensive cover on the flanks with the fullback or Gravenberch. This meant that Liverpool defended with a back 5 or 6. When the ball was played into Liverpool's third, a player or more would move from the midfield into the defensive line, ensuring that Liverpool had a +1. Slot changed his shape with the introduction of Darwin Núñez in the second half, which saw Liverpool shift into a 4-2-3-1, and this provided Liverpool with more of a central threat on counter-attacks. One reason that Liverpool were not able to get a foothold in this game was down to PSG's man-to-man press. Dembele and Kvaratskhelia covered the centre-backs with Hakimi pressed up on the left-back, Barcola covered the other full-back, and the two midfielders sat on the Liverpool pivots. This restricted Liverpool to longer passes fired towards the wingers. PSG were able to cover this with one of the midfielders dropping into the defensive line, meaning PSG could stretch the back line across the pitch and cover the wingers. Passes made by Alisson and Van Dijk, which we can see from the distribution chart. It was these last 2 points that culminated with Liverpool's winning goal, a long pass from the keeper Alisson to substitute Darwin Núñez, who has the aerial power to win a header and lay off to Elliott. Despite some good defending, Liverpool rode their luck at times and have a brilliant performance from keeper Alisson to thanks for the result. We could all see that PSG were the better team. Their rotations caused problems, but they were wasteful in front of goal. It will be interesting to see how Arne Slot approaches the second leg at Anfield. Thanks for watching.